The rain fell softly that evening, tapping against the glass windows of a small bookstore cafe in Seattle. Inside, the scent of old pages and roasted coffee mingled in the air. Sitting by the corner window was Daniel Hart, a 36-year-old writer who had forgotten how to smile. It had been 2 years since Emily, his wife of 8 years, passed away in a car accident. The world had lost its color for him. Every morning was a replay of the same emptiness: coffee gone cold, pages half-written, and conversations left unfinished. He still wore his wedding ring. Not because he wanted to hold on forever, but because he didn't know how to let go. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, as Daniel was reading in the cafe, a woman's voice interrupted his silence. "Is this seat taken?" He looked up and saw Maya Reed, a 33-year-old art therapist with a warm, slightly shy smile. Her brown hair was tucked behind her ears, and her eyes carried both softness and mystery. The kind of eyes that have seen both pain and beauty. Daniel nodded. "No, please, go ahead." She sat down, opened her sketchbook, and began to draw. For the next hour, neither spoke much. But there was something peaceful about the silence they shared. It wasn't empty. It was comforting. When she got up to leave, she smiled and said, "You look like someone who listens more than he talks. That's rare." Daniel chuckled softly, the first real smile in months. "Maybe that's because I've had too much to say to someone who isn't here anymore." She paused, her expression tender. "I understand. Sometimes silence is all we can offer when words would only hurt." Then she walked out, leaving Daniel with a strange calmness that stayed with him all evening. Days turned into weeks, and Daniel found himself hoping to see her again. One morning, she was sitting at the same cafe table, sipping tea and sketching the street outside. He walked over and said gently, "You found the best light for drawing." She looked up and smiled, "And you found the courage to start a conversation." That day became the beginning of something neither expected. They started meeting more often at the cafe, the park, the old library where she volunteered for art workshops. Maya had a way of talking that made even the hardest things sound bearable. She never pushed Daniel to forget Emily. Instead, she encouraged him to talk about her. What was she like? She once asked. Daniel told her everything: how Emily loved painting sunrises, how she laughed at bad jokes, how she believed love should always be gentle. Maya listened quietly, sketching as he spoke. When he finished, she showed him the drawing. A sunrise over the ocean. With a quote beneath it, "Love doesn't end when a heart stops beating." Stared at the drawing, eyes wet. "That's beautiful," he whispered. "So was she," Maya said softly. Over the next few months, their friendship deepened. Daniel began writing again. His new novel wasn't about loss anymore, it was about healing. They started going on long walks, laughing more often. The pain was still there, but it no longer drowned him. One evening, they went to a small art exhibition where Maya was displaying her sketches. Among them was the same sunrise she had drawn for him, now framed and titled "For Those Who Loved and Lost." Daniel felt something shift inside him. For the first time in years, he didn't feel guilty for feeling alive again. After the show, as they walked out into the cold night, he said, "You make me feel like it's okay to smile again." She stopped, looked into his eyes and said, "It's not betrayal to keep living." Daniel, sometimes, loving again is how we honor those we've lost. He didn't reply. He just reached out and gently held her hand. Months later, they took a trip to the ocean. Daniel carried a small box of Emily's ashes. Standing by the shore, with Maya beside him, he whispered, "I think she would have liked you." Maya squeezed his hand. "Then I'll thank her someday for teaching you how to love deeply enough to heal again." Daniel smiled, eyes glistening. "I never thought I could love again." "You didn't stop," she said softly. "You just needed time to remember how." V stood there, watching the sunset paint the horizon. A promise that even after the darkest nights, the light always returns. A year later, Daniel published his new book, Love After Goodbye. It became a quiet success. In the dedication, he wrote, "For Emily, who taught me love's purity. For Maya, who taught me love's strength. Maya, Read it, tears shining in her eyes. "You finally wrote your healing," she said. He smiled and pulled her close. "No," he whispered, "I'm still writing it every day. With you." And as they stood together, two souls who had known pain found peace, not by forgetting the past, but by learning that love never truly dies. Agree. It simply changes shape and continues to live in the hearts that dare to love again. If you felt this story touch your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Heart Talk Stories, where love, loss, and healing find their voice again.